So you're in for a feast today.
Lillian McDermott
We're going to
Show.
talk to Chef Riley of Sawgrass Marriott. So we're going to learn how to prepare for royalty. And we're going to fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you.
If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here.
That's good. I like that. That was pretty good.
You can count on me.
You know my baby is older than you?
Right here.
My baby is older than you.
Well, we'll be best friends soon.
This is the place you can always turn to when you
There
need
we
a
go.
friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend and my viewing friends. I'm so glad that we are here. I can meet you on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are new to the Lillian McDermott radio show, let me tell you what this show is about. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening and viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Today, I'm so excited because we get to give away 2 tickets worth the total value, $130, if my math is correct. Mm-hmm. We're giving 2 tickets away to a feast right in your backyard in Jacksonville, Sawgrass Marriott. I am so excited because I'm going to be there. The Jack's Vegan couple's going to be there. We're going to try something new together on Earth Day. So before I get a little distracted, I'm not going to give you the number just yet because I want you to hear what these 2 tickets are for before I give the number. I want to make sure you're available. You have to be available on April 22nd from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. That's Sunday, April 22nd, Earth Day. So here's what's going on. You know, Earth Day, for those of you who know or celebrate Earth Day, this is when we support environmental protection. It has been documented that the industrial farming generates enough gas to create global warming. We've heard this before over and over and over again, but what can we do about it? We need to drive, but really it's the animals that are creating all of this because there's so much of it to satisfy our feasting appetite, right? Well, if we can't do anything about it, yes, there's something we can do, and this is what I want to talk about today. We have the chefs at Vernon's restaurant at Sawgrass Marriott. They're creating an event that you're going to want to attend. It is an event to live for. It's an event that will feature delectable, vegan, whole food, plant-based. And I know many of you are thinking, oh, that's what rabbit food, that's what people eat or rabbits eat. Well, think again, because we have Chef Riley Philo, who is a whole food, plant-based chef, and he is preparing this feast, not for just rabbits, for royalty. And I'm so excited that we have Chef Riley joining us today, and they are so generous that we're giving away 2 tickets each. It's a 6-course meal, and it is $65 a person. And guess what? 2 of my guests, my listening friends, 407-373-5959, will win these 2 free tickets. The 20th caller or texter. Now, since it's our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am so grateful that Chef Riley is here to do just that. Welcome, Chef Riley, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Hello, hello.
I am so excited to have you on the show. I've been looking at this menu and salivating over it. Share a little bit about your background and what led you to your passion for food.
So my passion for food comes from my family. We grew up, I'm very much a Palm Valley or Ponte Vedra, old Ponte Vedra native. And I grew up, not from a non-vegan standpoint. I grew up eating meat. I grew up with a huge family that got together, every Sunday. My uncle is a game chef on the Outdoor Channel. So I grew up very much cooking, is in my blood. And, food was never just a life-sustaining experience. It was very much a familial experience. It was very much a passionate experience. And, I kind of carried that over into everything I really did, whether it was, cooking or, going to school or just, being an adult.
Sure.
To be passionate about it. So I met my wife 3 years ago, and the first words out of her mouth was, "I'm vegan." And I'm like, well, okay, I've heard about vegans.
Sure.
And she's like, "But if you want to be with me, you have to be vegan." And I was like, I could be vegan. So
did you even know what you were committing to?
Yeah. Day one, I was like, you're cool. I mean, food is food. And the more, I kind of embraced the culture. It wasn't just you're vegan, so I should be vegan. It was more of tell me why you're vegan. And her main reasons were exactly like you stated in the beginning: environmental. They were for, animal rights. It's just a very clean way of eating. You eat vegan for more than 30 days, and apparently your entire body is just cleansed. And
it says thank you. It says thank you.
Definitely feel that.
And for those of you who want to be winners of 2 tickets to this delectable feast at Sawgrass Marriott, call 407-373-5959, 20th caller or texter. And we're going to continue our conversation with Chef Riley when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Good job. Good start. Okay. So I didn't realize that you met your wife and married her right away?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. How long did you date?
So timeline was, I met her March 13th. She totally blew me off. We coincidentally met April 7th. I was being active in the LGBT community for a certain bill that I was trying to pass. And she happened to be in the same group I was. We didn't know. And I show up, she shows up, and we're like, "Hey, you look very familiar." And she just, I guess from the graciousness of her heart, decided to give me a second chance.
Wow.
And from there, we have never been apart, not a single day.
Wow. How wonderful. What a great story. What a great story.
Yeah, we got married May 24th of the same year. So we've only been dating 6 weeks. And we've been happily married 3 years since. And I plan to be married for another 1,000 years in the future.
I love it. You know what? When two spirits find each other, you just know it. When
Absolutely.
I met my husband, he had been seeing me because I used to sing at church, and he used to see me from afar. And for 3 years, he would talk to his sister. I would love to meet her. I'd love to meet her. And finally met, and I blew him off. I thought he was a married man, so I just blew him off. But then something happened that we realized that both of us were single. And so we went out on the December 16th for the first time. On January 31st, we were engaged.
When you know, you know.
When you know, you know. That's right.
You know, yep.
And until you get to that point, it's always a question. Maybe not.
I will say, up into that point, and I've told her this, I've been in relationships, I've been in love, I've been engaged several times, but it's different when you meet the person that you're I guess you could say destined to be with. It's this whole other level of just I thought I knew what love was, but I had absolutely no clue.
There we go. But now you do, and now you set the bar. Okay, let's dance. The phone is ringing.
no tickets.
You can text Lillian
Get your
McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show. This is an event that is going to be to live for. We're talking with Chef Riley Philo. He is he is the chef over at Vernon's. And so for those of you who have eaten at Sawgrass Marriott, which we have in the past, if you are vegan or if you want to try what it feels like or tastes like without any animal cruelty, this is the event on Earth Day. That, I believe, is going to continue on, but the event, this is the kickoff, the pop-up, whatever you want to call it. They call it a feast for rabbits, and it's kind of like tongue-in-cheek because, people think that eating whole food, plant-based is like rabbit food. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
And so it's Sunday, April 22nd, 5:30 to 8 p.m. at Vernon's. It's First Coast Kitchen and Bar. For those of you who want to, this is $130 value. It's $65 a person, but it's a 6-course meal. And be the 20th caller or texter. 407-373-5959. Chef Riley.
Yes.
You gave us a little dip in the toe here. You dipped the toe in the water about your background and how, as you're Greek, as I understand, right? You said your background is Greek.
Italian, more Mediterranean than not.
Mediterranean. We love our food. We love our food, and this is how we love each other. But the reality is we're loving each other with sometimes the wrong kinds of food.
Yes. Yes.
And so you grew up seeing your uncle, you said, your uncle did a lot of cooking with animal products. And then this is what you grew up, this is what you knew. But here's the thing. You're a chef. You've been a chef for 10 years. All of a sudden you see this beautiful woman that steals your heart. She says she's vegan. You got to change your world.
Yes. Yes.
First of all, how did your family react to that?
So the first time my mother met my soon-to-be wife in this story was me telling her, like, hey, this person's going to be my wife. And she's like, okay, I can deal with that maybe. Second words out of my mouth were, she's also vegan. And so am I. And she's like, how do you spell vegan?
I'll make you lamb. I make you lamb. I don't know if you remember my big fat Greek wedding. What do you mean you eat no meat? I make you lamb.
Exactly. Oh yeah, he was vegetarian. So very, very similar example. So my mom actually 100% supportive in everything I've done. So she kind of was like, cool. All right, let's go with that. So we have, like I was saying earlier, we have like, when I grew up, it was every Sunday. Now it's like once a month because my brother and my sister, all of us are adults. We have a lot of busy schedules. Sure. So once a month we get together and we have a theme. And the theme of the night is, say it's, backyard grilling or taco night or something like that. My inventiveness like kind of stems from that in regards to vegan food. Cause it started off like, my family isn't vegan. It's a very huge family. Whenever we get together, it's like 30, 50 people plus. Yeah. So how do I stay within the theme of what that night is, whether it's taco night or backyard grilling? Sure. And so I just kind of had to make up something that kind of fit that. So, there's all these, vegan alternatives to meat. There's also a lot of whole food, natural alternatives to meat, like pulses, farro, grains that simulate meat in certain ways. And if you have tasted meat extensively, you can kind of, if you're kind of chefy, you can kind of gather what herbs, what spices fit different styles of cooking. Like for Mediterranean, oregano, parsley, lemon, olive oil, garlic, all these things are stemming from a core style of food. Yes. And that flavor profile doesn't change regardless of what you're cooking in that style. So you can definitely cook tofu with oregano, lemon, garlic, or you can cook farro with that kind of flavors to emulate sort of meat style.
Absolutely. And isn't it amazing how the plant-based will kind of absorb those flavors? And it's really the
So
flavor.
much more, I should say. So much more. If you ever wanted to like actually taste what a style of cooking is, definitely use something like tofu because it's such a neutral flavor.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely get the flavor of what they intended that dish to be. Like, lemon scallopini, or you could definitely make a scallopini out of chicken, which is traditional, or you can make it out of some other sort of protein. Out of the certain other protein, you get the exact flavor that they intended with that.
Yeah.
They can mass.
Totally agree. And for those of you who are listening to Chef Riley, he is the chef over at Sawgrass, one of the chefs, because they have Chef Joe as well. Mm-hmm. And they are creating on Earth Day a feast for rabbits, quote unquote, but it's really a feast for royalty. 6-course meal, it's a $65 per person, 6-course meal, family style at Vernon's First Coast Kitchen and Bar. And we're giving 2 tickets away, but you have to be available on April 22nd between 5:30 and 8 o'clock. And if you're calling, because I'm hearing the phone, it's ringing, but if you're calling, you must leave a message. At least, leave a message. Let us know that who it is and your phone number. I'm not going to be answering the phone. So just please know that. Okay, so now what was your health like? Because now here you are, you meet this person, you are now changing your lifestyle. Was it difficult for you? Was it were you scared to make this shift?
I would say I was scared. I would say it's definitely a new style of eating, and being kind of a foodie and a chef, I definitely embraced it. Like, I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Like, reading cookbooks, reading, blogs, like such like Jack's Vegan Couple. And
yes, of course, the Jack's Vegan Couple, they'll be there.
So, reading things like that, it inspires you to like want to go out and make food like that, especially if you have somebody you're cooking for. It's really helpful too.
Yeah. Well, you also had a partner who was coaching you along the way. That's why we started Healthy Eating and Living Tribe, that I'm hoping that all our listeners will want to be a part of. And you can also, if you want to be a part of that, I don't want to give too much instruction, but send me your email, let me know you want to be a part of the tribe, because we are growing our tribe, and we're going to get Chef Riley to come in and give a demo, right?
Absolutely. I would love that.
So excited about that.
Happy.
Okay. So we know about your family history. You're a generational pattern shifter. You've gone you've gone towards something different.
That's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yeah. Because that's the one thing that I did not like about changing my lifestyle, is that people thought I was abandoning one and I was against one. No, I'm not against it. I just learned something different and new that satisfies or fulfills my body now, and changes it in so many ways. Have you seen a change in your body? Have you seen a change in your health since going vegan?
So, full disclosure, I am a transgender individual, and I will say that like being vegan has helped like tremendously with that transition. Also, I mean, I've seen more people affected by my lifestyle outside of myself, like seeing me and how I'm reacting to the food that I'm eating and how my body's reacting, and just, word of mouth and how excited I am about it has definitely changed the lifestyles of those around me, which I think, like, from a personal gratitude perspective, that is so much more satisfying than any change that I could have gone through just eating alone. Like, one of my really good friends who is actually attached to the event, she actually is making your dessert, whoever gets those 2 tickets. When I met her, she was definitely I will never stop eating meat. I will never stop eating cheese. Those are like the staples of my life. And now she's vegan.
How did that happen, Chef Riley? Were you influential, or did she consider eating one of your meals?
It was definitely like this whole event actually started from like, I want to make my lunch at work. So I made my lunch and I was like, hey, this looks really good. And I personally know it tastes good. let's show my executive chef. And
Joe is so excited.
Yeah, the second he put it in his mouth, he's like, so we're going to get you a pop-up, and you're going to take over Vernon's, and it's going to be great. And this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
But for her, my friend Meg, it was more of like she would see me eating food, and I would be talking about it because I was really passionate about it. And then she would come in the next day and be like, hey, so I tried that dish you suggested, and it was fantastic. And her and her husband decided that they wanted to lose some weight and to kind of get away from, the inflammatory side of meat and dairy, because that really does weigh on your bones and your joints a lot. Sure. So she was like, hey, I'm going to be vegetarian for a month. Can you help me with some recipes and stuff? I'm like, girl, I got you. It like a year and a half later, they started off vegetarian. They both lost I think her husband lost 80 pounds so far. She's lost 30 pounds, and now they're completely vegan. And they actively tell me there are very few times when they'll go out and they'll just see something that is non-vegan or non-vegetarian, like a chicken dish or something. They're like, we have to try that. That sounds so good. And they wake up the next morning feeling awful. And they're like, it tasted good, but it necessarily was not good for my body. And my body is definitely responding to that.
Let's talk about that, because, I'm looking at some of these meals that you're the courses, and every single one of them has a counterpart to the actual name that carnivore would give it, like Absolutely. Crab cakes or prosciutto or First Coast Cobb or cauliflower waffles, so there's so many connection. Did you do the names so that people would feel tricked into thinking that they're eating the actual thing?
So I will pause you. Yeah. I have never been a trickster, and I will never be.
Okay.
But I have.
I like that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
I have noticed that, 2017, year of the pulses, right? Yeah. That is the really large trend towards plant forward and plant-based movements. Yes. Prior to that is when I started cooking vegan. And up until that point, 2017 and now, people, the second you put vegan on anything, just the word vegan, the immediate was like, that is disgusting. That is rabbit food. I will never be satisfied. There's never going to be enough protein. There's never going to be enough what have you flavor, that immediately they are turned off by it.
Sure.
So I've made brilliant menus with just vegetables and protein. And if there's no connection to it, I feel omnivores and carnivores don't really feel inclined to taste it. Coming from a background of being an omnivore, I miss food like that. And I hate to say it, but my mom's pot roast growing up was literally the best thing I've ever put in my mouth. My grandmother's homemade spaghetti was, something that I will always remember from her. Her strawberry pie, her pecan pie, all this stuff that I grew up eating. And for some reason, I don't want to give that up, and I don't feel like I have to.
So it's a way for us to feel familiar with what we're eating. And
absolutely.
For those of you who want 2 free tickets to this event, you must be available on April 22nd from 5:30 to 8. 407-373-5959. We'll be right here waiting for you.
Absolutely. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I hope I got it out. Brian, did I get it out in time? Did you pad me? Yeah, he pats me. He knows me. He gives me a little patting. That's good. We've gotten so many calls. That's why I'm so excited for this vegan event. Pat Philo.
That's my mom.
Pat Philo. She must be listening.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Mom, I love you.
She's not listening right now. Let's see. So she wants the free tickets to come to your event.
Mom, you already have free tickets. Calm down.
Okay. She's so sweet. That's a mom who really loves. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking forward to meeting your mom. Okay. So
She's looking forward to meeting you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I think it's wonderful. I don't want to go out of the story, which is the meal and all that, but I want you to, I want to honor you and acknowledge you for living your truth, and for being okay with your truth. And so, thank you for sharing your background at a much deeper level than any of us need to know. You understand what I'm saying? But I think it's wonderful. I have done shows on transgender with Dr. David Baker Hargrove, who is the leading expert in. He actually created a clinic for transgender LGBT community because he felt that there was a disconnect between honesty and your doctor, and so he wanted a place where people could say anything, and this is what I did, and the doctor would say okay, and the doctor is a transgender as well.
Yes,
not Dr. David Baker Hargrove, but he's a psychologist. And but anyway, so I just wanted to share that I've done lots of shows, and if you ever want to come back and talk about that, we can.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, just to touch on what you said, I mean, the best thing you can do is be an advocate. A lot of people in my particular community, the transgender community, keep silent, and I feel like the best way to bridge gaps is to be open. And my journey through that transition is absolutely connected to the food that I eat, and so I mean, they're not mutually exclusive. I can't talk about one without the other.
Yeah.
So I felt, I just needed to share that. And maybe somebody who is going through the same situation that I am can also find that connection through food to help their process of transition.
It's a tough journey. I'm telling you, you don't take the path of least resistance. You
No,
don't.
not at all. But your food choices do help.
It does. Okay. So when we come back, I'm going to share a little bit about, how to get a hold of the show and all of that. And then I'll reintroduce you. And then we want to go straight into the menu. Yes. Yeah. This is the fun part. And okay. Are you going to have, I'm looking at this lava, and there's a lot of things that I can't have because I am whole food plant-based, but I'm also gluten-free and I can't have peas.
Sorry.
Can you do it with a chickpea flour? Can you?
Yes, I can. So the only thing I will say that has gluten in it would be the crab cakes.
Okay.
And the cauliflower, which I feel if there are enough people like yourself who are gluten-free out there, I have no problem doing gluten-free. I actually have worked for an entirely gluten-free place before, gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free.
Can you do it? Can you?
Absolutely.
For the event on the 22nd? Would you be able to do it?
Yeah. I will say I won't change the entire menu, but I will make several dishes that could potentially, be changed or altered to be gluten-free.
Yeah, because, when you use chickpea flour, because I completely changed the flour in my home, even after, because I've been gluten-free since 1996, I believe. And it was because gluten was killing me. Yeah, anyway, so I asked because
I'm sorry.
No, you can't hear me?
Really intense. It's beautiful, and I love it.
Text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
And you heard that number, 407-373-5959 will get you 2 tickets to enjoy this meal on April 22nd, 5:30 to 8 o'clock. You must be available at that time. And it's at Sawgrass Marriott, and it's a creation by Chef Riley. They call it a feast for rabbits, but ... it is a feast for royalty if you look at the menu. But before we talk about the menu, I want to encourage you, my listening friend, to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we take responsibility for our life. Remember, our DNA is handed to us by our family, right? It's in us, but you can turn it on and you can turn it off. The one thing we learn, that does affect us 100% are the recipes we inherit from our family. So if there's a long line of diabetes, there's probably a lot of recipes that promote that kind of damage in your body. If there's heart attack or colon cancer or of any kind of cancer, look at the family recipes, because that is what turns on the DNA to get those diseases. So be a generational pattern shifter. Stop, learn, listen, look at different people that have figured it out, and try to take a little step at a time. 20 seconds is all you need of courage to do whatever it is that you want to do. Now, this is where we come together, take responsibility for our lives. If you are driving and you want to be a part of the Lillian McDermott radio show, and you want me to subscribe you to whenyouneedafriend.com, I can do that. That has worked really well. A lot of you want to subscribe, but when you get home, you get busy, whatever, text me your email, and I will subscribe you into the whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we take 100% responsibility. And the responsibility I talk about is not about blame. It's not about fault or shame or anything like that. It's about empowerment and freedom. That's what this kind of responsibility, we're going to reformat what the word responsibility looks like. And so if you want to be a part of that movement, go to whenyouneedafriend.com or text me 407-373-5959. Text me your email address and I will subscribe you. That's how passionate I am about this. And so while you're there, make sure that you check out my sponsors, because without my sponsors, the show would not happen. So check them out and make sure you support them the way they're supporting the show. When you become a subscriber at whenyouneedafriend.com, you go in there and you check out. There's so many buttons you can click on, like the YouTube video. This YouTube video is going to be on after the show. And you'll get to see Chef Riley and his passion. And you'll be able to get the show sent to you once you become a subscriber. You click on it, like me on my social media, check out my podcast. And last but not least, if you want to be a part of this event, that's 407-373-5959, April 22nd. You do need an RSVP, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. We're going to talk about the menu. 407-373-5959 will get you 2 tickets. 20th caller or texter, 2 tickets to this event called A Feast for Rabbits. But it's really a feast for royalty. Chef Riley, I am so grateful to you for coming on the Lillian McDermott radio show today to share about this event this has been something that's been brewing in you. Look at how life just has a way of just working out perfectly. This is what you were created to be, right?
I mean, if I really look at it, I don't think any of this would have happened, regardless of whether, I was in the industry or not. It would not have happened if I hadn't met my wife, if I hadn't become vegan. I mean, I had been cooking for, 7+ years before this, and it has never really gotten me anywhere. And look, the second I become vegan, here we are.
Life changes. But we really, I love what you said about the whole food plant-based, because there's a lot of unhealthy vegans out there. And,
yes.
and so it's good. So let's talk about your creations and some of the combinations that you've created. First course is a sweet potato prosciutto wrap dates. I love dates. So
yes,
how do you make the prosciutto? What do you do?
So, this was definitely a play on a prosciutto wrap date, stuffed with manchego cheese, which I actually stuff it with a house-cured tofu that I cure myself. Mm-hmm. And then in the date, wrapped around with the sweet potato prosciutto. And the sweet potato prosciutto was just a brainchild I had one day. I was like, there's all these vegan, soy-based, gluten-filled meats, and there's got to be an alternative to that. So what could I potentially do? And a sweet potato has such a high sugar content that it doesn't actually break down easily. I don't know if you've tried to make a sweet potato mash, like mashed sweet potato. It doesn't ever turn out the way you want it. You think a mashed potato?
I've given up on it. I just steam it now, and I add some shredded coconut, cinnamon, and some almonds. Not almonds, pecans, and it is to live for.
To live for, yes. I like that. Instead of to die for, to live for. That's good.
Yes, nothing. There's nothing worth me eating that is to die for.
No, always. We're living for the next meal.
That's right. To live for, yes.
But the sweet potato has a really high sugar content. So if you were to slice it really thin, as opposed to practically any other vegetable, it refuses to break down. So what I do is I slice it really thin and I marinate it in, I call it a hot marinade. Basically, you're boiling it for like 5 to 10 minutes in a marinade that's supposed to emulate prosciutto. So it has a lot of smoked products. It has a lot of salts in the form of like tamari or gluten-free soy sauce. And you hit it for just like 5 minutes just to impart that flavor and just get it out. You let it dry overnight on a sheet tray, and then you smoke it for like 15 to 30 minutes with whatever kind of smoke you prefer. At the hotel, we really enjoy cherry wood. So it has a very sweet kind of almost mesquite type of flavor to it. And then the salt that we've imparted into it isn't necessarily going to be the first thing you taste. It's really the smoke and the sweet you get from the sweet potato. And that paired with the date is just out of this world. That's actually the first thing I showed the executive chef Joe you mentioned.
Yes.
I'd mentioned earlier I was making my lunch one day and I was like, let's try this cool little thing I just invented out of my head. And I made the sweet potatoes with the dates, and I did it over exactly what's going to happen. I made a soy ricotta and then charred kale pesto with a little bit of pickled onions. I showed it to him. I plated it all really nice. And he was like, not only is this good, I want to give you your own event. We actually have the regional director of all of our Marriotts for the Northeast region coming in. His name is Sam. And you're going to make this for him. I sent it up to his room. He walked back out and was like, yo, I don't even know what to say about this. I've never tasted anything like this, and I probably never will. And
okay, so that's our first course, and it sounds delicious. Is that gluten-free?
It is gluten-free.
Okay, so let's go to the second one. Second course is crab cakes, which I am begging you to make gluten-free. Go ahead.
And I can. I very much can. Okay. And I will make a couple plates for whoever comes in and decides that they are not about to.
Okay, so first of all, if they don't win the tickets, people do need to get tickets. How do they get tickets, or how do they RSVP for this event, Chef Riley?
So on the Sawgrass Marriott Golf and Resort Facebook page, there is a post, and I'm certain your show has like blasted it. I know Sephora from Jack's Vegan Couple,
yes,
has definitely put it on her website. On the actual post,
there's a phone number.
There is a email, emilycosta@marriott.com.
Emily.costa. Emily.costa. That's C as in cat, O as in orange, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, A as in apple. So that's Emily.costa@marriott.com. They send an email?
Absolutely.
Can they just call? Can they just call Vernon's?
I mean, yeah, of course.
Okay,
and,
so
probably directed to her. So
okay.
Either way you want to go, absolutely.
Okay. So that's how you call. The number that you can call, or if you want to call me at 407-373-5959 and RSVP, and I'll just go tell them. But it's
Lillian's got you.
Yeah, I got your back. 904-373-2098. That's the number for Vernon's or Emily Costa, 904-373-2098. And she's the manager, right? She is
a salesperson that is overseeing this event. She actually lives the healthy lifestyle as well.
Very good.
She and I talk extensively about vegan food, and she's definitely one of the tribe.
So let me just go over real quick before the segment ends. We've got second course crab cakes. Third course is a first course cob. Is that like a cob salad imitation?
A cob salad. I make a vegan hard-boiled egg, and I also have the bacon on there as well.
I'm curious to that one. So the fourth course is cauliflower and waffles. Fifth course, scallops and creamy herb polenta. And sixth course is spicy molten lava cake. And I am hoping I can have that one because I'm gluten-free as well as whole food plant-based. And for those of you who would like to dip your toe, try something new, 407-373-5959. The 20th caller, texter will win your tickets, 2 tickets, $130 value to go to this event on April 22nd, 5:30 at Vernon's at Sawgrass Marriott. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Oh, mouthful.
Yeah, you did it though. Good job.
Yeah, but you know what? We only have like 8 minutes left when we come back.
Well, all right. Well, this has gone really fast. It's already been an hour. Dang.
Almost an hour. Yeah, for us, because we met earlier. Okay, yeah. So if you can't do the spicy molten lava cake, which I am just so looking forward to, do you use a lot of sugar when you do this? Because sugar
so I will say, I mentioned Chef Meg earlier. She's one of my really good friends, vegan now as well. That is her brainchild. I went up to her and I was like, hey, I'm doing this event. I want you to be a part of it. She's a pastry chef extraordinaire. She went to the Culinary Institute. She graduated doing pastry, and the fact that she now gets to kind of flex her vegan muscles and make something that's near and dear to her heart. I was like, girl, whatever you want to do it. And she's like, lava cake. And I'm like, when's the last time I had a lava cake? Because lava cake typically is made with nothing but eggs and flour.
Yeah.
And sugar.
So what is she going to do? Chia? Is she going to use chia or is she going to use flaxseed?
She uses flax. I also have
And by the way, flaxseed, you can use it. You dip the flaxseed after you grind it. You put it in water, and it has like an egg consistency.
It jellifies, yeah.
Jellifies, yeah. Well, that's the chef terminology.
But also, I've really been experimenting with aquafaba. I don't know if you've heard. Yes. That's the brine from any type of pulse. Mainly chickpeas because it's a very neutral flavor, but I've definitely used black beans, red beans. It's basically the stuff you throw out of the can.
Yes. And Dr. Joel Fuhrman, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Joel Fuhrman.
I actually haven't heard of him.
He's in Forks Over Knives. He's in Eating You Alive.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Dr. Joel Fuhrman, Eating You. Yeah. He's fit for
I believe in you. You got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right
I've got the book right here. I think it's Fit for Life, or gosh, I can't believe it. Just like he's been a regular on my show for 2.5 years, and it just. But he's done so many books, and the last book that he did was Fast Food Genocide. That's a really good book. And yesterday he was on the show. We did The End of Dieting, and we talk about how sugar is very inflammatory. So, and next week I have a doctor. He's a diabetes coach, and he talks about. And I say this too, don't ever call your meals cheat meals. And he calls it a vacation meal. And because we want to, if it has sugar, we just need to know that it's a temporary thing. We're going to just have a small bite and then we move on.
Yes.
But, so what is your position with that? Do you use a lot of module dates for your sweeteners?
So personally, my take towards food has been very nostalgic and reminiscent. So I don't really partake, or I don't really.
This is our last dance, Chef Riley.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And today's teacher is Chef Riley. He is the chef over at Sawgrass Marriott. And for those of you who live in the Jacksonville area, or if you're listening worldwide and you happen to be in this area, you'd like to come to this area, this is the event of Earth Day. This is the Earth Day event everybody will want to go to, because we will be filled with love. The love that Chef Riley pours into his food, we're going to benefit from. And this is a 6-course meal. for those of you who will, two of you will win, or one will win 2 tickets. But if you want to make sure that this is the place that you can go to, you need to RSVP, because they need to make sure they have enough food for all of us. Is there going to be a cap, Chef Riley?
We've actually decided to cap it out at 80.
80?
We have not met that goal yet, so feel free to RSVP all the way up into the event.
Okay, very good. You heard it. You can call Emily Costa. So that's Emily Costa at 904-373-2098. Or you can text me and I'll give you the information. But it's emily.costa@marriott.com. emily.costa@marriott.com. She's the one that's coordinating the RSVPs. But I'm sure if you call Vernon's, they'll forward it to whoever it is that they feel. But you guys are even doing cocktails. There's a happy hour.
Happy hour, yes. So the event starts at 5:30, but we don't actually start eating until 6. So I have in the works, I recently went to Miami and I found some amazing people down there that are really kind of revitalizing the vegan protein scene down there. And, within 400 miles is local.
Yeah.
Miami's within 400 miles.
That's right.
So Be Cultured Tempeh is their handle. They're on Facebook, so you can look them up, Be Cultured Tempeh. They have 6 different kinds of tempeh, and all of it is handcrafted, handmade. They make their own inoculation.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. I'm trying to get them to kind of give us some product for the event. I'll get it like a green lentil tempeh, which is out of this world. And an adzuki bean tempeh, which is the red bean, kind of the Japanese Asian kind of bean. And so it's got a really sweet taste to it. It's fantastic. But that being said, there will be cocktails. The reception at 5:30 will include a carrot mimosa. And
so excited about the carrots.
We got to have carrots. It's a rabbit event. And also there'll be a huge vegetable tower with several different types of dips. I'll have a cannellini bean puree, which is kind of like a hummus, an avocado crema, and a chipotle aioli. So you got your sweet, your spicy going on. And it'll be full of local vegetables from a lot of different purveyors we have actually at the hotel. We actually have our own garden at the hotel. Our own, we call it Bee Hill. We keep our own bees. We have like 12 beehives now.
Wow.
We have quail, we have chicken, we have goats, and we also extensively have our own garden. We make all of our own, not all of, because we are a really big resort, but most of our produce comes from our garden. A lot of our vegetables come from our garden. We now have, I'm excited. We have red limes that we want to kind of introduce into the menu.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's really cool.
This is amazing. This is amazing. My husband and I went there. We stayed there the weekend one time, and we loved Sawgrass Marriott, and we ate there, and we loved it too. But now I'll be able to sit down and have a meal that I don't have to worry about, that I can really, let's talk about your main meal. What is is it the 5th course, which is a scallop and cream herb polenta? So the scallops are actually, I don't know if you've heard or been in the scene, but Sun and Sky is a mushroom purveyor in Ponte Vedra, actually. So they're very local. They have like the most unique variety of mushrooms I have ever experienced in my life. There's a couple different food trucks out in Riverside that are featuring their mushrooms, and we wanted to kind of get in on that scene. So they have what's called a king trumpet mushroom. It's a very large mushroom, very thick stalk, and it's basically minus the red and white flecks. It's what you'd expect a toadstool to look like. Like there's really no other way to describe it. And the flavor of it is just phenomenal. It's very earthy. It has a very kind of peppery note towards the end. And basically, you only really use the top of any mushroom. You never use the stalk. And I thought that was a really large waste of a product. This is the first time I hear that. Go ahead. Yeah. So you could take the stems and chop them in stock or chop them up. Yeah. I mean, they do take a little bit longer to cook, but I thought it's the perfect size for like a potential scallop. Yeah. Of what a regular omnivore would eat. So I chopped that stem up. I seared it on both sides, a little bit of salt and pepper, and it's very uncanny how similar it looks to an actual like fish scallop. Wow. So, wow. And the
That's another
cream
dish that I made. Yeah.
and the creamy herb polenta.
It's actually, I was very liberal with the words of polenta. It's actually Jupiter grits from Congaree and Penn. They're also a local purveyor. They actually have a whole, like, I think it's like 300 acres of like rice fields up in North Florida.
Really?
Towards the Pensacola area, the
Yeah.
Tallahassee area.
Yeah.
And we get all of our grains from them. And I really wanted to feature them in there as well. So it'll be Jupiter grits from Congaree and Penn.
Wow.
And creamy herb polenta. We have nutritional yeast in there, which is an excellent product that I feel every vegan should know about.
Yeah, it's got B12. It gives that B12.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And just a little bit of our fresh herbs from the garden. So we have fresh parsley in there, some fresh rosemary. We have huge rosemary bushes right now. It's like really blooming. So
Well, this is absolutely phenomenal. Fit for royalty, not just rabbits.
not just rabbits.
So for those of you who are listening and you're listening to Chef Riley of Sawgrass Marriott at Vernon's, it's Vernon's First Coast Kitchen and Bar, and you want to try a delicious whole food plant-based meal, Earth Day, April 22nd, 5:30 to 8 o'clock. A 6-course meal. It's $65 a person, but one of you will get 2 free tickets to attend this wonderful meal. 407-373-5959, 20th caller or texter. I have not counted, so you could still make it. So if you really want these tickets, make sure you call in 407-373-5959. What would you like for us to know? Because we're getting towards the end of can you believe it? It's the fastest, healthiest hour on radio.
I have enjoyed every minute of it. But to your question.
Yes. So to my question, for people who are fearful, I know that when I made the change, it was the hardest 2 weeks of my husband's life because I was learning. He lost 10 pounds. I was
looking at you. Yeah.
and so for those of us who would like to, maybe this is a great event to go to try some foods that are just so delicious. But if we want to make this change for ourselves, what is the first advice that you would give for someone who wants to make this change, but fear is keeping them from releasing all their diseases, releasing their inflammation?
So I could say, speaking to your earlier, kind of call to action for all those generational, boundary crossers.
Yes.
Being one of those myself,
Yes.
The biggest fear I had was that my family wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
Or that somehow I would be viewed as like, you're breaking the norm. Like, this is what we've always done.
Yep.
And to be honest, like, that's not true. Like, if you really look at it, like, the food that your family is eating right now is not necessarily the food they were eating 100 years ago or 50 years ago or 30 years ago. Somebody had to make a change. And so, if you keep that in mind, like, why can't it be you? It's not that it's not as hard as you think. Like, if you are really wanting to make this change and you feel like you can do it, but you're just being held back by just that little thing that your family may disapprove. If they disapprove, like, what are they going to do? Cut you out of their life because
people disapprove anyway, right? You might as well, do it anyway. Try it, and if they'll come along with your journey, right? They'll come and join you when it's so tasty.
And to that point, like, my mother, I thought would be my biggest critic. Sorry.
No. We're going to have that conversation.
My mother, I thought would be my biggest critic, and now she is,
supportive. She's calling. She wants tickets. And for those of you, thank you so much, Chef Riley. We got to get going. Remember, I'll be right here waiting for you. Give it a try. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Yay! Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. You can continue this. Go ahead and tell us about your mom.
Oh, so my mom, like, I thought she would be my biggest critic ever, but now she has cut meat almost out of her diet. The only thing she eats is chicken and fish. She does no longer eats dairy, and she did it for health reasons as well. She's had digestive issues all of her life.
Yep.
And now she has been, losing weight, feeling great. She's literally almost every other weekend she's out, doing something with her best friend, and she flies to different places around the world. She just feels so empowered now that she's taken back her life and her control over her diet.
Take back your life. That's all I always say that. I normally say take your health back. And I had all this talk after I was going to say, let's take our health back. But we just, when the clock runs out, the clock runs out. And so, yeah. But this is the thing. I wanted to mention, for those of you who are watching still, I want to mention Chef Joe. And Chef Joe's last name is
Napoli.
Napoli.
Natoli with
Natoli.
a T. Natoli. He's very Sicilian.
And he is so passionate about what he's doing. So Chef Joe Natoli, he's the executive chef, Joe Natoli, and then Emily Costa, she's the restaurant coordinator. Mm-hmm. And it's Sawgrass Marriott Golf Resort and Spa. I want to encourage you, if you're listening, chances are the tickets are gone, but for those of you who would like to go to this event, and let's sell this event out. I want people standing at because it is my vision to see restaurants that are stepping out and saying, I'm going to love you with good food. I'm going to love you with food that's going to reverse disease.
Yes.
And so
if I could go to that point, I feel a lot of restaurants, they separate things. It's like, here's the actual menu, and if you want a vegan menu, you have to ask for it. Joe has always been completely supportive about anything that anybody is passionate about. And I feel like the second I stepped into his office that day with my lunch and was like, hey, look at this. And he was like, we're getting you an event. We're getting you this. Like, whatever you need to do what you want to do is what I want to do.
Don't you love people, mentors like that?
Yes. So actually, after this event, we're going to be doing a complete kitchen revamp. He has taken, the vegan aspect that I brought to his menu and has just grasped it. And so once this event is over, a lot of the dishes that you really enjoyed, the cauliflower and waffles, the sweet potato dates, and also the some form of the crab cakes, will be on our actual menu, integrated fully into it, not separated. You can look at what you want to eat next to what your omnivorous partner or your friend. You don't have to have a separate menu. You don't have to be separate from the person.
That means a lot, especially for someone like me. I have been so different. Talk about a generational pattern shifter. It would have been better for me to say, Mom, Dad, family, I am walking away from my religion, than to say I am walking away from eating foods that are inflaming my body. Mm-hmm. And that was difficult. And it's been since 1996, I believe, that I started my shift.
When's your vegan anniversary?
The what?
When's the day you made do you have a vegan anniversary?
No. Actually, I will tell you that about a year after I started my show, someone, because I haven't been vegan since 1996.
Oh, true. Yes.
So I learned I had some really, really bad stomach problems. Mm-hmm. And it got so bad that I couldn't even sing. I used to sing at church, and I couldn't even sing. I couldn't even, I would sing one song in my throat, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you have a sinus infection. So for a whole year, I was given antibiotics, which are horrible.
For your gut. Oh my gosh.
Yep. For a whole year. And so and they were giving me Nexium for my stomach. They were giving me all these pills. And finally, there was a little girl named Katie who was a teacher for me that they found out it's a long story, but they thought she had Asperger's syndrome. And what it turned out to be was that she was allergic to dairy. And I was the room mom at an emotionally handicapped class. And I was weaning myself off. And that's when I heard about Katie wasn't really, that she was going to be moving on because she was Asperger's and she didn't belong in an emotionally handicapped class. And then when I came back, because I was weaning away, I used to go there every week. Mm-hmm. And I was weaning because all my kids had graduated from elementary school. And I was still 7 years later, their room mom. And I needed to move on. And so when I came back for the holidays, because I used to always bring Christmas presents to the kids, Katie was still there. And I said to the teacher, what is Katie doing there? And she said, well, Interestingly enough, they found out that she was allergic to dairy, and the allergies to dairy, because she was true emotionally handicapped,
Yeah.
her pain was so severe that she would have these psychotic behaviors.
Yes. Okay.
And
And
I
at
said,
that young of an age, you can't distinguish between.
no. And I said, poor little thing. And immediately in my head, I go through my checklist. She can't have pizza. She can't have milk. She can't have this. She can't have that. I'm like, oh my God, that's awful, right? Well, during that time, I'm going through my thing. And I decided to go to an ear, nose, and throat specialist because, here it is a year later, full of antibiotics, and nothing is changing. I'm feeling worse. I go to my ear, nose, and throat specialist, and he said, you don't have a sinus infection. You have acid reflux.
Yes. Yes.
So when I heard
Very
that,
common in the omnivores.
I went to an allergist because of Katie. I thought, well, let me see if I'm allergic to anything.
Mm-hmm.
The allergist said to me, there is no correlation between food allergies and what you're experiencing. And I said, so be it.
Maybe not.
Maybe my insurance is paying for it. Let's do it anyway. Right. And so turns out my biggest allergy is rye.
Rye?
My
Like rye
second
meat?
one is wheat, then dairy. Those three things. And then peanuts, almonds.
Oh, man.
I know, but I can eat walnuts, cashews, and I love cashews. So
there is a very big distinction between tree nuts and like legumes. So I can totally see why that would be.
I know. And overnight, because I used to have for a snack peanut butter and jelly on wheat toast with a glass of milk.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't give up peanut butter.
Well, you know what? If you take cashews, and you could.
Well, I mean, okay, I can't say I never could give it up, but I do enjoy the taste of peanuts.
Yeah. I wonder if we can create like I love cashew, butter, cashew nut butter or whatever. But I used to love peanut butter. And so I figured different ways. And, there's so many other things that you can have that I just walked away from all of that. Within 24 hours, Riley, I was free of any pain.
That's how it works.
24 hours. That's it. Within 24 hours. And that is what started my journey. But then after that, I gave up red meat and pork. I gave that up before that, I gave that at 21, red meat and pork. And then I gave up the wheat, dairy, all that stuff in 1996. And then a year into my show was all about, let's have a conversation. Let's be compliant patients. Somebody challenged me to go raw vegan for 1 month. And I said, sure, no big deal. I can do it. I'll do it. I'm game. It completely changed how I felt. And I didn't feel bad.
No.
I didn't know I felt bad.
The next level thing.
Yes, it's the next level of feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, wow. Just like when you meet the right person.
Well, to that, it's kind of my background. I would say a year before I even met my wife, I had already been researching about the different things that you consume and how it affects your body.
That's brilliant for a chef, because most chefs want the end result, which is yummy.
So, it was more of like, I actually, I was born like 2 months premature. So I have a lot of sinus issues, and I'm not fully developed up there. So a lot of the food that I eat directly relates to how I feel in that aspect. Like you were saying, they told you had a sinus infection. I've had a sinus infection for like the last
27 years.
So I was kind of researching like what helps with that. And definitely cutting out dairy was like the first thing that they tell you to do if you're having any kind of upper respiratory situation. Yeah. So I cut it out. And I was drinking exclusively cashew milk. Before I met my wife, I had cut out all red meat. I was eating mainly just fish. You guess you could say I was a pescatarian.
Pescatarian, yes. Once in a while, I would have fish, yeah.
But seafood, even now, like that's the thing. I if I was to ever, not that I would ever go back, but if I was to ever go back,
and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
It would definitely be for seafood. That is the thing I probably miss the most. And growing up, like in Palm Valley and on that area, like my grandmother used to do, she used to have a timeshare and, well, not a timeshare, but she used to own and operate the Palm Valley Fish Camp for 3 or 4 months out of the year.
Wow.
We have a very rich history in Palm Valley. So like growing up around here, like you went crabbing. I am an expert oyster shucker, like, you know, all these things that, you know, I grew up doing, and it was really hard to give up. And then I met my wife, and it's like, you could be this, like, that was like this, like shining, totem of what your health could be. And she had been raw vegan for a while before there. And, you know, she said, you know, when she was raw vegan, she dropped 30 pounds like that. Like, so, you know, having her as an example and having someone to help along the way really did kind of like tamper things down. And then hearing her being so passionate about, like, you know, the animal cruelty side, because that's something that I feel like a lot of people like don't even think about.
It's just like we turned our eye to the genocide with Hitler, and we turned ourselves, you know, to apartheid, and we turned our head so many
very
times.
much hand in hand. And you know, there is a difference when you're eating something that hasn't had all this cortisol levels completely through the roof. Like, you know, a vegetable is a vegetable. It will never have cortisol. So I'm not putting fat and, you know, stress induced like awfulness into my body. And it's just, it's life changing. It really is.
Although, Riley, the other day when I started juicing, and I, you know, and you hear the juice, the carrot or whatever you're putting in there, and it's going through the grinder, you hear this
a little bit.
And I'm like, oh my God, they're screaming at me. You get to the point where you realize that everything has a life. Everything has a life.
Yeah. Potatoes. I mean, whenever you cook potatoes and you open the oven and you're like, and you're like, oh,
what's up?
What's in my oven right now?
I know. Our food can talk to us.
Exactly.
You know, and you know, after 3 years of being raw vegan, it just wasn't supporting me anymore.
Yes.
There were certain foods that you cannot have, because I don't know if you know this, but and I'm sure you do, but I learned through Dr. Joel Furman that when you eat a mushroom raw, it has a carcinogen in it.
No.
Yes. And if you must
I
cook
eat mushrooms all the time.
Well, make sure that you steam them or you cook them, that you take that, because once you cook them, it releases an anti-fighting, that same thing. Okay. So once you saute it, and do you do steam saute or do you do oils?
We do. I personally do use oil. But I mean, a lot of the time I just eat steamed vegetables all the time. Like,
have you made sautés with wine or water or broth? It's so good. You don't miss the oil, and then the fat content is diminished.
Absolutely. I will say that you know, I would not completely take out fat out of your diet. If you are a vegan, you do need fat to live.
But you get the whole fat. So
I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So
but a lot of people kind of take that and like run with it, and they only use water, or they only use them. Like, there are healthy fats and you do need to consume them. Absolutely in moderation.
You know, basically what Dr. Joel Furman talks about, and when he was introduced to me, and he started doing the show once a month, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's been 2.5 years or so. And by the way, he's going to be coming to Jacksonville.
Awesome.
I'm creating an event. Maybe you can help us out with that. But so Dr. Joel Furman, he taught me that, you know, that the avocado has everything in it. The olive has everything in it. The walnut, you know, all of that. It has it all in there. And that when you consume it all together, that whole food, that you still get the fat. It's when you take out the fat, it increases the calories without the benefit of it.
I will say, you know, congrats to local grocery stores, because they really are like upping their game on oils. Avocado oil is probably like one of my favorite oils to cook with, and you get all the nutrients and the fat. But if you're trying to cut salt out of your diet, I definitely suggest using flavored oils. Like, I have a lot of basil oil, avocado oil. Like, you can even make your own oils. Like, just use a very neutral oil, and just let it steep with chilies or garlic. Really, really suggest that if you're trying to cut salt out of your diet, which I very rarely ever cook with salt. I will say this menu does have salt in it because it's not designed for me. It's designed for other people. But very
Isn't
rarely
it
ever cook with
amazing?
salt.
Isn't it amazing how when you stop eating salt and you eat somebody else's, it's like,
You definitely taste it. But I will say I have personally tasted it, and it is up to my standards. So
very good. Well, I am looking forward to experiencing this. Is there anything else you'd like to add before I shut the recording off? Or we say goodbye?
Well, other than goodbye, I will say that this is probably a culmination of everything that I have ever wanted in my entire career. And it is really scary and exciting. And I really hope that you guys can be there to kind of help me with it and experience it.
Yes. And I want to congratulate Chef Joe Natoli for seeing something in you well, first of all, you're a great enroller. And you enrolled him into your dream and your vision, and he accepted it. And so I'm just so grateful to Chef Joe Natoli for saying yes to what you can. And by the way, he said that you were the best interview he's ever had. And when he talked about it, I thought, well, is he like at first I didn't know who Chef, what he was. I just knew it was Joe Natoli. And I thought, oh, maybe he's a radio show host. I don't know.
My actual interview to get the job.
That's right. That's right. He said it was the best hour that he spent in an interview ever. And so,
normally interviews don't go an hour, but we definitely had stuff to talk about.
Well, you know what? It is that passion that gives us our why to live and thrive. And so I want to thank you. I want to thank Chef Joe Natoli, and then of course Emily Costa for being the brainchild of all of this. And so would you like to add anything else?
I would like to add that for those of you who called, thank you. For those of you who didn't actually end up getting the tickets, don't worry. If you can't come to this event, we will be doing future events. I have a bunch of other menus planned. If you guys want to input anything, get with Lily and
yeah, absolutely. Well, I for one am looking forward to this, especially, if you can't make the lava cake to be gluten-free, maybe a banana ice cream or something like that you can do. A banana cream.
We are having an avocado ice cream. There's your healthy fact.
There we go. I will have that. I just love food. I love food and I love to eat. And so because I like that two combination and obesity runs in my family, I wanted to make sure that, people are teachers. They can teach you how to be and how not to be. And I did not want to worry about my weight because I wanted to be healthy. And so the choices and the paths, thank God that I was allergic and that I found out I was allergic because that same food was causing inflammation. And who knows, maybe if my father's never been overweight. My oldest sister, perhaps maybe if they were to change the lifestyle, their inflammation would go down.
That's a scary road because I have a lot of people in my family who I feel the exact same way of, and I see their health deteriorate.
Great teachers.
And all you can do is just talk about it and be an advocate for your own lifestyle.
That's right. Be invitation. Doesn't mean anybody has to come to the party. It just means that you still invite. Because if you invite and they choose no, then they choose it. But if you don't invite, it will always be no.
Exactly.
Yes. So thank you so much, Chef Riley. I'm looking forward to having you as a guest on our tribe, our healthy eating and living tribe.
Maybe I can demo a gluten-free lava cake for you.
Ooh, okay. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you and all the viewers who would like to join us at this event. I'm going to say it one more time just in case you didn't hear it. It is April 22nd, Sunday, Earth Day, from 5:30 to 8, Vernon's First Coast Kitchen and Bar. 5:30 to 8. We are excited to share in your vision. Thank you so much, Chef.
Thank you.
Okay. So hold on a second. We'll see you on our next conversation.